NBA trade rumors suggest that Danny Green will not play a minute for the Oklahoma City Thunder. The LA Lakers and Oklahoma City Thunder's trade to swap Danny Green and the 28th overall pick for Dennis Schroder will be completed tomorrow. Although, NBA trade rumors suggest that Danny Green likely won't start a game for the Thunder as the two teams look to expand their trade. But before we start, if you're new here and enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe for more NBA content like this. So all support would be greatly appreciated. Anyway, let's get right into this update. Danny Green is on his way out of LA as he will most likely be dealt to another team tomorrow. The Thunder and Lakers deal will not end up being the simple exchange it was supposed to be, since Oklahoma City wants to get out from under the veteran guard's contract and stick with their current rebuild. Danny Green struggled significantly this year, especially in the Orlando bubble when famously missed a game-winning three in the NBA Finals. The three-time champion averaged 8 points per game and shot only 37% from beyond the arc, down from his career average of 40%. Despite his struggles this season, Danny Green has earned his respect across the league, so look for the Oklahoma City Thunder to try to involve a contender as a third team for the trade. NBA trade rumors haven't identified any specific suitors, but Green's market could become crowded as the NBA trade moratorium lifts tomorrow. Many contending teams need a 3-and-D guard to help tighten up their starting lineup or boost their bench's efficiency. Some reasonable teams for Green to end up with would be the Philadelphia 76ers or maybe a reunion with the Toronto Raptors. Last season, after the 76ers moved on from J.J. Redick, their three-point shooting struggled and they were never able to find a rhythm. Danny Green could add knockdown shooting and solid defense at this point in his career for a team that desperately needs it. The Toronto Raptors could look for a reunion with their former guard. Green succeeded with the franchise winning a championship in his first season with Toronto and shot an elite 45% from three. There will be plenty of NBA trade rumors circulating tomorrow, while the LA Lakers and Oklahoma City Thunder search for a third team to add to the trade. In connection to this, here are the reasons why Dennis Schroder could be the perfect fit for the Lakers ahead of the 2020-21 season. Lakers were recently crowned as 2020 NBA champions in the Orlando bubble. The LeBron James-led team was incredible during the postseason as they embarked on a dominant run to the title. With the next season looking far more competitive thanks to the returning Stephen Curry and Kevin Durant, the franchise needs to bolster the roster in order to launch a title defense. As a result, NBA trade rumors have linked the franchise with numerous new pieces. The latest reports reveal that Dennis Schroder is almost certain to be the latest LA Lakers acquisition ahead of next season. Let's take a look at how Dennis Schroder can cover for the Lakers' earlier weaknesses. Lakers were one of the best defensive teams in the NBA last season. However, the team had a tendency to struggle on the offensive end, especially when the ball wasn't in the hands of LeBron James or Anthony Davis. James and Davis are outstanding in the primary and secondary scoring roles. However, the team lacked a third scoring option who could create his own shot. While many believed Kyle Kuzma could evolve into a third scorer, his inconsistency prevented him from filling the role. As a result, NBA trade rumors have long linked the LA Lakers with a ball-handling scorer. Dennis Schroder could potentially fill that gaping hole. The 27-year-old averaged an impressive 18.9 points in just 30.8 minutes per game last season. Schroder's consistency on the offensive end was crucial for the OKC Thunder's playoff run last season. LeBron James is acknowledged as one of the best playmakers in the NBA. Unfortunately, he's also 35 years old and can't initiate every play for 48 minutes a night. NBA trade rumors also indicate that Rajon Rondo, who was sensational for the Lakers in the playoffs, is set to depart the team in the offseason. As a result, the Lakers need a ball handler who can distribute and run plays. Rondo is an all-time passing great, and replacing his production is no easy task. However, Schroder shows promise as a playmaker. Operating in an off-ball role for the OKC Thunder, the star averaged 4.0 assists last year, despite sharing ball-handling duties with Chris Paul. The 27-year-old can act as a floor general and run plays in clutch time. The Lakers are a below-average three-point shooting team, and that's always a cause for concern in the modern NBA. The team's shooting from behind the arc is arguably their only glaring weakness, and NBA trade rumors suggested the acquisition of a shooting threat was a priority for the franchise. Danny Green was brought in last season as a specialist three-point shooter. However, the 33-year-old's shooting dropped off a cliff in the playoffs despite receiving several open looks. Dennis Schroder shot a career-high 38.5% from deep on 5 attempts per game last season. He would improve the shooting percentage of the team and improve the spacing, which was narrow and constricted at times. This would allow players such as Anthony Davis and JaVale McGee to be far more effective. While on the Clippers update, according to NBA trade rumors, Clippers are interested in acquiring Russell Westbrook this offseason. Clippers were undeniably one of the favorites to win it all going into the 2020 NBA playoffs. However, despite all the hype around them, the franchise lost in the second round. Since their early postseason exit, a plethora of NBA trade rumors have linked the franchise with Russell Westbrook this offseason. Last season was a topsy-turvy one for Westbrook, especially in the context of the Houston Rockets' small ball experiment. At times, Westbrook flourished in the system, but there were also a few occasions when he looked horribly out of place. While his playoff performances were abysmal, to say the least, it must be taken into account that the player had just come back after testing positive for COVID-19. For that reason, despite Russell Westbrook making the headlines for all the wrong reasons, several teams, one of them being the LA Clippers, have shown interest in his services this offseason. Let us look why it makes sense for the LA Clippers to acquire Russell Westbrook ahead of next season and why it does not. While many believe that Westbrook was largely culpable for the Houston Rockets' postseason meltdown, there is a reason why many franchises are reportedly interested in the player, as per NBA trade rumors. No player, no matter how good he may be, is expected to hit the ground running after coming back from an injury or illness, something that applies in the case of Russell Westbrook too. Unsurprisingly, in the aftermath of contracting COVID-19, the player was not at his best. Unfortunately for the franchise, they were the worse off for it. When he is fully fit, Russell Westbrook is a beast on the court. The player averaged a stellar 27.2 points, 7.9 rebounds and 7 assists per game last season. He was so good for the Clippers that experts argued that the player might have been showcasing the best version of himself. The former MVP is also a gifted creator. That, along with the options he would have around him at the LA Clippers, could make Westbrook the perfect point guard for the franchise. With NBA trade rumors suggesting that Paul George could be headed towards Houston, Westbrook could likely be the second option for the Clippers. Despite the conspicuous lack of an outside shot in his arsenal, Westbrook is a far better inside player than George. Considering the playmaking and inside scoring prowess of the player, the Clippers absolutely need to pursue Westbrook this offseason. Westbrook is indeed a worthy player to move for if not for his gargantuan ego as a player. In other words, Westbrook would never let himself be anything less than the first option on any team. That was apparent at the Houston Rockets last season. The system the franchise employed could have worked a lot better if they had a definitive first option. Despite James Harden being the more versatile player of the two, Russell Westbrook refused to step down from being the first option. As a result, the team spectacularly imploded in the postseason. Moreover, Westbrook has a worrying penchant for disappearing in the postseason. In this regard, while Paul George didn't perform at his best for the Clippers last season, it wasn't something that happens every year for him. If the Clippers are looking for an outstanding postseason player, Westbrook is not the right option. Considering the same, the Clippers should look to keep George in its roster and avoid bringing in Russell Westbrook before the start of the new season. Lastly, Buddy Hield is being linked to the Dallas Mavericks in the latest NBA trade rumors. NBA trade rumors have long addressed Buddy Hield's situation, but there was never any specific teams attached to him. Apparently, this is now changing as Landon Buford reports that Hield wants to be moved to a certain rising Western Conference contender. Hield began last season starting for the Sacramento Kings, but was eventually benched by head coach Luke Walton. Obviously, a player of Hield's caliber wasn't thrilled by this decision, especially after just signing a 4-year, $94 million contract extension. Despite the guard's downgrade from the starting lineup, he still managed to average 19.2 points per game, 4.6 rebounds, and 3 assists, as well as shoot 39% from 3 on close to 10 attempts a game. Buddy Hield's scoring was down from the previous year, in which he scored 20.7 per game. This is to be expected, given that he only started 44 games out of the 72 he played. NBA trade rumors connecting Hield to the Dallas Mavericks are beginning to heat up, and surely the Mavs will not be the only team looking to acquire the guard's services. Hield would provide the Mavericks' historic offense even more firepower and shooting ability. The only issue with this trade is Buddy Hield's lack of defensive ability, which is what Dallas desperately desires. The Sacramento Kings guard is a clear upgrade over anyone on the Dallas Mavericks roster, excluding Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis. The Mavericks could put a trade package together using the 19th and 31st picks in the NBA Draft 2020, as well as some role players including Seth Curry and Tim Hardaway Jr. This may not be enough, as it has been reported that the Philadelphia 76ers want to make a run at Hield as well. And that will conclude the video. Let me know all your thoughts on this down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. With that being said, I am out.